Is your anxiety chemically contagious? So, human beings can sense all sorts of things that are outside of our awareness. These are things like pheromones and chemical senses that we don't even register. And they are linked to all sorts of the big mysteries out there. And so that's what I'm going to cover in this little mini series, the mysteries of things like pheromones. So, do pheromones really cause women to sync up their menstrual cycles when they live with one another? Can your body chemically detect a similar immune system to try to prevent you from inbreeding? Do exotic dancers make more tips when they're ovulating? And can dogs sense your anxiety? All of these questions are based around the same idea that we have chemical senses beyond our awareness. So today's question is, can you actually smell somebody's anxiety through their sweat? And if so, does that change how you behave? Does it make you, for example, more empathetic? So a recent study set out to ask that exact question, and here's how they did it. So they had two groups of people who were basically the odor donors, as they're called in the literature. So their job was to just produce sweat that people would then smell. So there were males and females who had to wear these kind of cotton swabs underneath their armpits. And they did this during two different types of events. So the first one was they were just riding a stationary bike. So they're exercising and getting sweaty doing that. And then the second group, they were getting sweaty by basically being stressed out. So they had these people go up and give oral examinations. So it was their final exam for college students. And they had to go up and explain everything they knew in front of a professor. And they did that while wearing cotton swabs underneath their armpits too. Now they wanted the most pure body odor. So they had people not eat certain foods, like they couldn't eat cumin and garlic, for example. And they also had to not wear deodorant. So extra anxiety. So then they collected those scents, so the male and female scents from either just sweating while on a stationary bike or sweating because of the anxiety of giving a final exam. They collected those scents and made an aerosolized version of it, and then had people go into an MRI while wearing an oxygen mask, and this oxygen mask would present those aerosolized odors to them. So they'd basically be sprayed in the nose and mouth by people's BO in the name of science. So the researchers were like, okay, so if this anxiety scent is something that other people can smell and other people can feel the effects of, we should see certain brain areas be activated. So they found that when people smelled the anxiety scent, but not the exercise scent, they had more activation in areas of their brain that are linked to things like the emotional attention, those aspects linked to anxiety. So areas like the thalamus, the cerebellum, and the vermis. And it went even further than that. So what they found was that areas of their anterior cingulate cortex, which is an area that deals a lot with empathy, as well as parts of their prefrontal cortex, both of those are linked to when people feel empathy. And the anxiety scent actually led to those areas being activated, whereas the exercise scent did not. So it's saying that when you smell that anxiety scent in comparison to just somebody smelling like sweat because they're exercising, the areas of your brain linked to anxiety actually light up. So it could be linked to something like emotional contagion. So maybe that anxiety is a little bit contagious in terms of your brain activating in similar areas. And also, even more cool, there's an automatic activation of the system that's linked to empathy too. So not only are you starting to kind of feel those anxiety symptoms, but you're feeling empathy towards the other person. Even though in this case, the other person was just the smell of someone being pumped through an oxygen mask. So there are weirdly chemical signals that we have that both sense somebody else's anxiety and also automatically trigger empathy in ourselves to hopefully relate to that person a little bit more. If you want to hear more about menstrual cycle syncing or pheromone perfumes, follow for the next videos.